Hey Tony, it's Friday, and first off, to answer your question of the week, yeah, I have days like that frequently. I have weeks like that near constantly. In particular, last week, and in particular, last Monday, when I woke up early to get into New York City, was in New York City the whole day, then had to come back and then do other things when I got home. Yeah, that's a day where you just have to do everything and everything. I find they're getting more common as I'm getting older. So I hope it's like basically a bell curve in which my busiest days are going to be from about here till, age 45, 50, and then it's, kind of runs down a little bit from there. Because like I said, I will go weeks of just constantly doing something without like a really good rest, which is actually what I want to talk about this week. The reason why I did my video last Saturday instead of last Friday is because of a theory called the spoon theory. You might or might not be familiar with it, so I'll give you a little bit of a rundown on it. Basically, what the spoon theory says is that you have a finite number of spoons to get through the day. Each day you start with X number of spoons, and as you go throughout the day, different things might make you lose spoons or gain spoons. And sometimes it costs too many spoons, and you have to borrow from later days. And so that's the general theory. And that's why if someone says, I don't have the spoons to do it, it's referencing that theory. And I found that it is actually it's a really well described theory because I've noticed it in my own life in which, say, I'll have a day where, like you, I'm busy running everywhere. And when I get home, I'm so drained, but I still have more things to do. And so, in general, like it'd be like, say I started the day with 10 spoons, and say it's 8 o'clock. Say it's 7 o'clock when I get home after doing errands, etc., etc. And I've used at least 10 of those spoons. I'm now borrowing from my future spoons. So that's why you might have like several days in a row in which you're just exhausted and drained and just don't have a will to do much. Well, that happened to me last week. Again, the entire week was just a complete and total rush starting from Monday and just going without adequate rest, adequate me time, or anything like that. And that's why by the time it came to Friday, it wasn't a bad day at work, but it was just aggravating enough that I was just completely drained of everything, and so that's why I didn't make my video then. And it's not a regular phenomena for me to run out of my spoons, but it does happen not infrequently because especially in the job I work, which is collections, it's high volume. And it's also like I'm doing the same thing over and over and over again, dealing with a lot of defendants or a lot of clients who are exceptionally demanding or difficult to work with. And so every single one of those actions takes some of my spoons. And so at the end of the day, frequently I just kind of go home and just relax a little bit. But say it's a week where I don't have the chance to go home because I'm running everywhere, then I don't get to recuperate my spoons from that day, and it makes me borrow a few more for the next days. It's I've noticed it particularly common amongst many of my neurodiverse friends who frequently have more or less spoons depending on the day. For me, I feel like I have a pretty steady stream of them, and it's not infrequent that I run out of spoons, but it's also not frequent. But it's something that I've come to realize I need to work on because I have a tendency to, work myself to exhaustion or work myself till I can't work anymore, which is in no small part a personal failing because I don't know when to stop. Last week in particular, and less so this week, but last week in particular, I didn't stop and I didn't get the chance to like recuperate, recover, relax, do any of those because I always had to go to the next thing. Now, this week wasn't nearly as bad. I was only in court one day this week, whereas last week I was in court 3 days that week. So I was on the run for 4 of the 5 days last week. This week was a lot more relaxed, a lot less busy. Didn't have as many people here because obviously we had Sky and a couple other people here last week, which was a great visit, but it still took energy and you only have a limited amount of energy in a day. So Tony, my question for you is, what do you think about the spoon theory? You think it's a pretty good theory, or do you think it's kind of a little pseudosciency? Tony, I'll see you on Tuesday. Later, bro.